Okay, so on this last bit now, this last section, what I just thought I'd show you is how you would then use the bezel strip, or the fancy bezel strip that you've created, and how then you would put that around the cabochon. So same principles, general principles really, as if we were using any other gallery wire, but just how we would then shape it around our cabochon. So you would have already thought at this point whether you know what style was most appropriate for the cab that you're working on. So you'd be looking at maybe the depth of the cabochon. So maybe something like this. So if we had a look, so if we looked at maybe the this was the one that I think came off the other one. So something like that, we can already see it's way too the cabochon is too high for that. It's got too much depth. So that one wouldn't really be appropriate. We could have a look at maybe the fancier one, where not all of the design is going to be coming up over the top, but we'd have a good proportion of the design coming over the top of the cab, and that would secure it. So I think the most suitable one is going to be this one here, sort of like this larger wave. So I'm going to use that one, and we're going to work out how best to shape that around the cab. So because I'm going to be soldering it, what I want to make sure is I want to have a really good join. So I don't want to aim to get the join at this tip here. It's going to make it very, very difficult to make that so that it's really secure, and it's going to move around a little bit. So I'm going to try and get the join on one of the edges here. So I'm going to start off and just follow. So I'm going to start on one of the long edges, and I'll try and again move my finger out the way so that you can see. So I'm just taking my time, following the shape of the cab all the way around. And let's have a look here. So a couple of things I would want to think about. Do I want, I know I've got enough, so then I'd be looking at what I don't want to have. I don't want to have too much metal around that finer point there. So I am going to try and get it so that it finishes there. Can you see sort of like in that dip? So I'm going to just hold that here, and I'm going to come round, because the more silver I've got there, when I start to push it over the side, it's just the potential for it to sort of buckle and crease, because it's obviously a small area of the cab, but it would be quite a lot of metal to push over. So you see, if I sort of try and turn it like that, you can see hopefully that I've got. So I've tried to get those two, the bigger waves coming over the side and then less over that finer point there. So when you're happy with that, so if I hold that so it's nice and snug, just get my permanent marker, let's find the end here. So I'm going to go about there. So it's not particularly lined up, but we could have it so that maybe it's coming about, probably lines up quite well, maybe about there. So I'm going to lose a little bit on that first edge, but I think it'll be worth it for it to line up a little bit better. And that sort of that area there, so if I just use it with the marker, that scrap bit, you know, you can always you get a really lovely little, you know, granulation ball out of that. So you could you can see, so these are all my scrap bits that I've then just heated up and balled up. So you know, you could use that with that and you could get rid of that bit there. So what I can do now is we can now go in and I can snip off, keep that little bit, and then just before I snip the other end, just so that we don't get too enthusiastic and make it too short. So bring that up and snip that bit there. So again, I'm going to try and get it so that it's straight as possible. Again, keep that little bit. And you can see, so that I think that was quite a good call to cut it, lose a little bit off the one end, because then when we bring that together, I'm going to file that down a little bit, but then it's got the dip coming in here and then going into the next wave there. Okay, so I'm just going to push that together, move that out of the way, and I can just start and just bring this in. So I'm just bringing it in. And what we want to do is we want to get that to line up. So it could be that we file it a little bit, snip it off. I can already see I've got a slight edge there. Clean that up, and then we would solder that so that we've got our nice lovely bezel strip going there. Okay, so in the same way with all of your soldering, you'd line that up and get that so that it's nice and neat, and that would be our first solder. So if we look at some of the pieces, I'll talk you through. It's the same principle here. If we find the edge where I've done the seam, I think it might have been about somewhere here. So you can see that's going all the way around, continuous strip. And then what I've done with this one, because the cabochons I've worked with are all quite large, I didn't want to have like a big, use a lot of silver for the backing sheet. So I've just taken sort of corners here, filed them down, and then I've soldered those to the strip as well. So if I sort of show you the backs of all of them, it can give you an idea for when you're working with it as well. So you can see this one here. So started off with the big piece, and then use my saw and cut out. But you can see how that's worked with that. So that's actually the one that I've just cut and used there. You can see how that actually looks in place over the cabochon. So yeah, it's the same principles as with any of your other gallery wire. So you then solder that, you can pop that, whether it's going to go onto the backing plate, or you know, or you decide to do it like this one here, smaller, just little tabs that stop it from falling through, and then like with all bezel strips, you'd then be pushing that over the side of the cabochon as the very, very last thing that you would do. So it gives you lots and lots of options. If I show you the other two pieces so that you can really get to see them. So that's the cap that I was talking about, and you see how that works. I've just used a little bit of glue. So we have got the sheet at the top of there, and I've just soldered a jump ring, and that just means it's, you know, so you're seeing all of the cabochon there, because with this one it was a solid, I mean, it's more like a slab actually than a cabochon, isn't it? It's sort of like, so I wanted to make it like more angular rather than that curving over the edge. Shows you the versatility, I guess, as well of the, you know, being able to make that decorative edge with your strip. So you can see, so if we look at that one, you can see how the ring works there, and again, just a strip at the back. It's really lovely, neat results. So hopefully that's given you some food for thought, some ideas to work with, and then you can come up, you know, and create your own decorative bezel strip gallery wire with those brilliant shears. So thanks very much. See you soon. Bye.